Hey, we're live!
Are we live on the line?
Hey, Drew, what's happening? Welcome to the call. We just went live.
Oh, I was about to swear.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to this week's Freedom-Preneur Show. My name is Rhonda. If you don't know me already, you probably know my voice over even my face. Welcome, guys, to this week's show. I am so excited to have everyone here. I've got some really cool guests as well. I know many of you guys are just jumping on. I want to welcome everyone. Make sure that you're making some noise below, guys, and sharing this right now with others that you know, because I tell you what, today's call, our Freedom-Preneur Hangout and show is going to be powerful. It's going to be really, it's the necessity today. We're discussing the necessities of building any kind of business, whether it's a Freedom-Preneur business, a brick-and-mortar business, whatever it may be. The topic on hand today is going to be something you want to share. So what I recommend, actually right now, is everyone take a snapshot really quick. We'll all smile. Take a snapshot. You can shift Command 4, take a quick snapshot, and show it and share it and say, wow, I'm live right now with Rhonda Swan, the Unstoppable Mama, and my two guests I'm going to introduce in a moment. Give them the link, freedompreneurshhow.com. As you guys know, this is always a value-based show, always value, pure intention, and you're not going to be sold or told anything that you don't necessarily need. But guys, I do want to welcome everyone to our show. You know, it's so fun. Freedompreneurs, guys, are people that just completely break the status quo. If you're a thinker that is a little bit always told that you think in a different way than anyone else does, well, guys, you're in the right place, because all of us think in completely opposite ways than the norm 9 to 5. In fact, I was a corporate executive, truly was, got my master's degree. I wore my hair down every single day. I would never look like this and look kind of sweaty like I am here in Bali. I'd never look like this at a meeting, never. And I sure as heck wouldn't be doing this. But I can, because it's my show and because I'm my own boss. And same thing with my guests that are going to be joining me today. Guys, I literally went to work every day, hair done, bag, high heels, drove my little company car to work every single day. Now, I didn't punch a clock, but I punched my life clock, and it took my life away because I punched the clock every morning at 6 and every night. I went to bed probably around 10 or 11, and all I was doing was building someone else's time. And once I made that shift and I realized the way I was thinking and what I wanted my life to look like was not going to happen if I continued at the pace and at the rate that I was going. Because what I was doing is I was building someone else's bigger dream than my own. And I know many people that watch our show, you are parents, you are maybe wanderlust seekers, you might be travelers because we are travelers, or you may be someone going, wow, this is something completely unconventional. This lady is kind of crazy, but I like it. And for some reason, you're getting triggered in a way that makes you go, darn it, I'm sticking around. Well, good, because I want you to stick around today, because what I do in this show every single week is we actually bring pure value to what it takes to being a freedompreneur, whether it means shifting your mind, because that's certainly the very first step, all the way through to developing a brand of your own, building a blog, building a sales funnel. And some people go, what the heck is that? We teach a bit more about that inside of our academy. But what we really go for, guys, is really what is the foundation? What do you need? And you need to have the right skills, and you need to be able to leverage the right people. Because what I did for so many years is I actually was buying and buying millions of things. I literally would put my credit card on my lap, and I was buying products and services and investing in businesses so that I could figure out what I wanted to do. So what we've decided to do to come together, of course, Unstoppable Family. I've got my partner here, Drew Innes from the Alliance, and our special guest, Darren Hanser, today. We decided to come together so you can take your credit card off of your lap and start listening and start focusing on the experiences we've had, because I believe there's a difference between smarts and wisdom, right? A smart person takes their credit card and starts running around and experiencing different things and buying things and learning and asking questions. A wise person learns from the mistakes of others. So I've always been a pretty smart person, and I've decided to become wise, and I'd like for you to start into your journey or to now move forward if you've already been being smart and making a lot of mistakes, which you should do anyways. We want to help you dig deeper into wisdom. And today, my guest in the panel that we're going to be sharing, and the topic we're sharing, is all about experiences and wisdom. So we're going to give you some of the most valuable wisdom, leverage some of the most valuable 7-figure mindsets, and people that have done things in this industry, in this online industry, and have become freedompreneurs. And we're here to bring together for you guys what's it going to take to truly live and be like a freedompreneur. So I want to actually bring out my guest host here, Drew Innes, all the way from Manly Beach. The manly man, Drew Innes from Manly Beach. What's up, man?
Hello, how you doing?
So awesome. Good to have you on the show.
Yeah, it's great to be here. I wish I had a beautiful background like you. Where's my beautiful background?
Yeah, I'm in my room. Everyone knows, like, I usually go outside, and there's my other office. You can see my whiteboard. It's so darn hot in Bali today that I couldn't even do it. Like, I can't do it. But it's really fun, Drew. Go ahead.
I was out on the balcony. I was out on the balcony before looking at the beach, and I got told to go down the back. so I'm in the office. I'm in the real office.
Yeah, what's up with us all of a sudden, like, getting broken from our normal, hangout places, which is like around outside and in the nature. But I think it's actually quite appropriate, Drew, and this is super fun because at least I know our crew, our tribe is starting to see so much more of this Drew Innes and this alliance that we've been forming, and it was even more appropriate time for you to join us today because, and let's get serious. We're in our serious offices right now.
Serious, that's the only way I know it.
Yeah, I know, it's so funny. So, I've known Drew, you guys, for, I don't know, probably at least 7 years. And you know me, everyone knows I'm like, and then we got Drew, and Drew's very proper.
Yeah. Lulu says the only fun thing about me is you.
Well, good, because sometimes I feel like a little too wild. It's like, wow, and then Drew flows in. So the Swano like takes it down a notch.
Ooh, we're getting mellow there. Yeah,
way mellow. Drew's the perfect balance in between the chaos that comes around in our house.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's in all true seriousness, guys. Today's show is really powerful, and I Drew, what we've been doing and bringing together recently. I mean, everyone's starting to see us come together, and they've heard the story. They know where we are. Although I think it's because our last webinar we had, I think it was last week, we said we really failed people, and I feel that I had failed people for several years, the last 10-some years. Not really giving everyone exactly what they needed so they can develop and build their life the way that they really wanted to design it. I shared last week, I said I don't love the term lifestyle by design, because really, guys, it's about you have to really take the proper steps and do the work and actually put in the time and investing in yourself with the right people in order to design that life. Because I love Tim Ferriss, and I know that Darren, as our guest, also is a big Tim Ferriss for our work week follower, and I love what Tim talked about. What had happened is I think we shared with everyone our lives. We didn't share with them what it took to get there. And so, you know what I mean? So why don't you touch on that, because I know you can.
As you were talking before and you talked about wisdom, everyone knows that, wisdom comes through experience, right? It's like that saying, you can't put old heads on young shoulders. So as you were saying that, I was writing down this two terms that sort of are impressed upon my mind, and that is the difference between resources and being resourceful. And this is really key, because when you mentioned a lot of people, and we've all been down that path where we've accumulated a lot of courses, some of which are still gathering dust on the bookshelf, yep. And we've bought into a lot of the guru hype, and we've got all the tools and we've got all of these things. They're what I call resources, right? And we can accumulate resources to the cows come home, but until we actually take it to a different level and actually figure out how to become resourceful with what we have, then you actually will never sort of get any degree of momentum in your business, because people can achieve extraordinary results with little to no resources. what differentiates them is that they're very resourceful with what they have.
That's
okay.
I want everyone to hear that, because that's something, Drew, I think that many people, they feel that they need to know everything. We've been there, right? And where you think that you have to learn it all first. And this is why this relationship and this partnership is coming together, because you've got such core competencies that I want to leverage, that our tribe deserves to leverage from. And now what we're seeing is the development that you've had, and that what we've had is all of a sudden just blowing up, because we've begun. I had to take a step back and say, you know what? You don't have to do it all. You don't have to know it all. So there are others that do.
Yeah. Exactly. And this is really the difference between people that, see the world through their eyes as having, lack, and they think they have to go and accumulate more resources, where you've actually probably got everything that you need right now to commence from where you are. And I always say that to people when I'm doing strategy sessions. You actually have everything that you need.
Yep.
If you just start from where you are with what you've got, and we lay out a very simple, map, then it's just a matter of us leveraging what you've got, being resourceful with the resources that you have. And then, you can start to add things in and then scale, because no one's sort of born into the higher levels of success in online affiliate marketing or building an online business or entrepreneurism. It's always like a series of steps, and you need to scale there. And that's just a matter of being resourceful with exactly what you have at any point in time. And loud and clear, what everyone doesn't need is another course or another tool gathering dust on their bookshelf. We need to sort of find out where everyone is today, and then give them a game plan that allows them to be resourceful with what they've got.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, Drew. I know that, especially with your experiences, my experiences, what I've been seeing, there's a lot of noise in the marketplace, right? And so in order to cut through this noise and this clutter, we've got to really be able to be laser focused and target on the right resources and the right people that are coming to really lay out, all right, this is where we see. You've got to be able to cut through this clutter.
Exactly.
It's become amazing, but even so, walking even down the streets, right, we are still getting hit with constant information. We are getting hit with, ads on the side right-hand sidebars of all of our social media. Heck, there are even pop-ups. So how do we clear that? How do we clear through it? Choose the right things, but then also, guys, more importantly, as marketers, how do you get through the clutter? So we're looking at two things. We're looking at consumers, and we're looking at as a marketer, right? I'm both. As someone that's walking through my day on social media and in my streets, how am I cutting through and making noise, right?
Yeah, right. I call that the hunter and the hunted mentality. You actually have to understand that at any point in time, you are both the hunter and the hunted.
Yes.
And you have to be clear, and clarity comes through having a deliberate business plan and marketing plan, like getting clear as to the best of your ability on where you are today, where you want to be, have a plan to get there, and then that way you can filter out this constant noise and determine, what is an appropriate fit for you in your business, whether it's tools, training, additional courses, programs, whatever it is. Because unless you are able to instantaneously filter it out, then you shift from being potentially the hunter looking for people to, buy into your message, to the hunted. You're being sucked into someone else's sales funnel. And it can happen in a heartbeat. And you know what? It happens because of this other guy on the call.
Yeah. Perfect segue. But it's here because it's true. Here we are. We're all sitting here as, right now it's like my day. Sometimes I'm this hunter, and then other times I'm like, whoa, really be a hunter. But what steps it out, what brings us the noise, it clears the noise, but allows you, and I'm, you guys know me, I'm all about branding and being unique. I do things a certain way because I know that you're going to remember me. In fact, my dad always told me this as I grew up. He said, Rhonda, no matter what you do when you meet someone, you want to always leave the very last impression. You want them to know you, and you want them to remember your name. So if you guys notice, I will give you either a barrel hug when I first meet you, tell you my name, do something that makes you remember me. Now, I do it because that's kind of, I'm a crazy wild woman that loves to give off energy, make people feel great, but I'm also a hunter.
Yes. Very strategic. Strategic in a beautiful way.
But that's naturally what we want. That's what I believe in how to teach. When I teach my students in our tribe how to be not only the best hunter, but then also to seek as someone that could be being hunted, right? How to look through the right message and choose what, right? So we've got to choose how you can communicate your message so that the person on the other hand is like, I want that one. So that what I call is like the perfect equation, right? It's a deliberate shot. It's a bullseye and an arrow, whichever side you're on. You want to be both. You want to be the best at both. And how you choose typically in the marketplace is a lot of times we're going to be chosen by price. If we are not differentiated in the marketplace, right, then you're going to be chosen by price. I don't want to be chosen by price. I want people to go, wow, I dig not only her energy, what she's all about, but I dig what they stand for, and they choose me. Then, as now the marketer, I want them to go, ooh, this is powerful. That message stands out above anyone. So brings us to our why we brought out Darren today and why copywriting and content marketing, guys, whether it's through emails, through your blog, headlines, segmenting, sales funnel copy, you've got to learn from the right people, and this is now why we're bringing the two together. So, Drew, why don't you come up with Darren?
Yeah, and I just wanted to extend that one step further because, you know, obviously what I'm passionate about is, you know, verbal communication, connecting with people, because we live, you know, even in this sort of fast-paced online world that we live in, it's very easy to lose the human touch, and I'm still a big believer in high-tech, high-touch, and if we're in the marketplace to, you know, sell high-priced products and programs, we know that that's got to come through, I call it human interaction. It's got to happen through human interaction. So everything from the way we write copy to the way that we verbally communicate is actually, you know, working for us or against us. So the power of languaging when I'm doing sales calls is just as important as the power of the words that have been written in the sales funnel to move someone from point A to point B. So this was beautiful for me. I couldn't wait to get Darren on here because he writes our copy, and I know how powerful words are in terms of influencing people. In fact, I talk to Avalon about that all the time now because she's really got this, she's consuming written, you know, she's reading books and consuming stuff, and also the importance of self-talk, the language that you're actually saying yourself and which is reverberating back to you, the important power of words. I say to her, words have unbelievable power, so you have to understand what they're meaning to you and the effect that they're having on you, even if you're the one communicating it, and also the effect that they're having on everyone else around you. So written, verbal communication, and he's the man. Can we unmic? There he is. He's unmiked.
I'm unmuted. I'm unleashed.
He's
I'm
like,
ready.
they really bring me out. Am I really a guest? Are these two going to sit and blab?
Like, seriously, I gotta listen to you guys for the whole night. I'm about to go to sleep over here.
Oh, come on. We haven't even got started.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's even exciting too, Darren. I'm really pumped because many people know or they don't know, we're hosting an event, a private event coming up here in Bali, and it's been very quiet. We've been rather quiet because it is private. We're doing something that no one else has ever done in the marketplace before, although they've done it, and they may have done it in a different way. We're going to do it in our own very, very unique way, extremely valuable way that allows people to be completely sovereign and freedom-preneurs. But we've kept it quiet, and Darren's actually coming out because he's been writing some copy for us. We've got some new sales pages as well that are coming out, and I know he writes copy for very big companies, but even more important, he does know how to stand out in the marketplace. He's bringing out to teach this really tight group of Freedom-Preneurs that are coming to this private mastermind to learn from you, Darren, and we're excited about that. And for some of you guys that are like, why haven't you told me? It's because it is, we're keeping it very protected. It's always, invite only. But I know at the end of the call, we do have a couple spots open. I think we've got, we were going to go 10. Darren, Drew's like, we could do up to 15 because we started to hit up to the max numbers. So you guys can always send me a private message if you're interested in Bali. But let's get down to the nitty-gritty because Darren will be there, and Darren's also teaches in our academy, and he's got a, in our marketplace, the Freedom-Preneur Marketplace, he teaches and shares his strategies and helps you guys. More importantly, today he's going to teach you. So, Darren, why don't we kind of go? Why don't we go through that? The main, I guess the main formula, no matter what you do, and whether it's copy for emailing, blog posting, there is a formula that you follow, and let's give them some really tight nuggets. We're not about lip service here, we're about teaching. And why don't we do that so we can get some of our Freedom-Preneurs that are already engaging in blog posting and writing copy and Facebook ads. I mean, God, there's so much involved. Throw some nuggets out at everyone, and then we'll kind of go back and forth, if you will.
Sure. You just want me to just dig a nugget out?
Yeah, start throwing me some nuggets. How did you really get started though, digging deeper into copy? Like, where did that inspiration come from you?
Yeah. Well, first of all, thanks for having me out. I think that what you guys are doing is just insane and really valuable. I think it's a missing piece in the marketplace, and I'm just honored to be a part of it. And so I mean, going back, how I got started. I mean, I started in this whole marketing space really offline. I was doing consulting for financial planners and helping them really get their message across in a simple way, right? So actually, it's interesting when we go back because I'm gonna get into this when we talk about some formulas. The tagline of the company that I was a marketing director for was we help you make complex problems simple, right? And that was ultimately what we did in finance, right? So we would take these complicated strategies, these complicated formulas, and make them really simple so the average person could understand what we were going to do for them. Okay, so they could say, oh, look, I give you my money, or I give you X amount of dollars, and I'm going to get X result. And it didn't really matter what happened behind the scenes. All that mattered was there was a specific formula that was followed, and they knew that they were going to get a specific result if they took a certain action. Okay, so that formula right there, being able to crystallize what someone is going to receive and give them a really direct way to achieve it, was ultimately my first foray into copywriting. And I didn't even know it, because all I was doing was helping people with just skills that I had learned just from being around business, right? I had no idea what copywriting was, what salesmanship was. I had no clue, and it didn't really matter. What mattered was the fact that you could take an idea and foray that into someone's mind and have them take a specific action that they wanted to take. Maybe they just needed an additional push or motivation in order to do so. Okay, so that's ultimately what copywriting is, and how I got started in this online space and actually doing this for a living was, like a lot of people probably on this call, I was looking around for ways to make some extra money. I knew that there was some money I needed to make, right, on a monthly basis that I was not making in my job, and I went online and I found all these people doing things like Rhonda and Brian and Drew. Like, they were around at that point in time. I didn't find them, unfortunately, early on, but what I did find was a community of people who started sending me emails, and that's ultimately how I got started in all of this. I put in my email address into some form online, and I started getting these emails from a gentleman. And the interesting thing was, I started getting these emails, and one night it was like 2 in the morning, and I couldn't stop reading what he was writing, because it basically hit me at my soul. He was talking to me. He was talking about my story. He was sharing information that I wanted. He was talking about the emotions, the feelings, the pain, the dreams that I had inside of me at that moment in time, and he gave me a solution to the problems that I was facing. Okay, so he was the hunter, I was the hunted at that moment in time, and the lessons that he was teaching through his emails, through the sales letters that he was doing, through the videos, was exactly what I was looking for at that particular point in time. And I just started buying products, and this happened. Can you hear me okay? Yeah, okay. This started happening over years and years, actually. I started buying things and going to courses and going to events and learning things, and I was just consuming and consuming and consuming. And I finally realized that I needed to make a shift from consumer to producer, right? And from consumer to marketer, and take a step back and say, what is going on here, right? How are these people able to pull me into a process, talk to me in a way that gets me to flow through their sales funnel and actually make a purchase of their product? How did they do that? And I didn't have to talk to anybody. I didn't have to go through this process. And there were some specific situations where I did talk to people. I built relationships. I went to live events. I got to know people. But it all started by reading this material and watching videos that spoke directly to me as an individual at that point in time. And that's a key lesson, because none of these messages would have worked for the wrong person. I was the right person at that moment in time. I was ready, and I was just waiting for the right opportunity to come along. I was waiting for the right words to be said to me, and then someone to say, look, you can do this, and here's where you're going to get started, and I did it. I was ready at that moment in time. So one thing that I want to make very clear, before we get into these formulas, is you can't say the right thing to the wrong person, right? So the words that you use, the phrasing that you use, the tonality, the body language, all of that is fantastic, but that can't be your main focus, because the main focus is on the person, right? And if you don't have the right person in front of you, it doesn't matter what you say, it doesn't matter what you look like, it doesn't matter all this fancy videos. You could be living on a beach, like Brian and Rhonda. It doesn't matter if the wrong person is watching that, right? You can't sell steak to a vegetarian, and a lot of people are trying. I could. Right?
I'm kidding.
What?
Rhonda can.
Rhonda can.
I think it's a valid point, though, and we really should highlight it. So I wanted to intrude, because that's
Rhonda will make the vegetarian kill the cow.
Right? Exactly. But what happens is, so many marketers, guys, and I know that there's many of them on the line, are going, wow, so that's why this thing's not working, right? Because a lot of people are trying to sell something to someone that isn't ready, or they haven't pre-framed their message properly enough, right? Or
exactly.
They're that person, because I think it's two sides to that statement. You can't sell the wrong thing to the right person, but they can become the right person if you properly pre-frame them, and that's where your expertise, I feel, comes in.
Exactly right. So the process of your content and the value that you're giving and the videos that you're doing, that's all there to provide that pre-framing and the emotional connection, so that when they become the right person, when they actually hit that enough point that they are going to get to that point of making a decision, you're there, and you've got that brand and you've got that visibility, you've given that value, and they say, oh, well, if I'm going to do something, of course it's going to be with Rhonda, of course it's going to be with Darren, of course it's going to be with Drew. Who else is there? Right? Those are the people that are in my circle, they're in my face, they're there, right? So of course I'm going to go to them when I'm ready, okay? So I'm going to talk about some formulas about once you have someone that's ready, okay, or you have an email list that you're building, you have a following, you're writing Facebook ads, and you're going to be putting out content that has the intention to bring people to a specific end game. There's got to be an end game. Okay, and I think that's a big lesson for marketing in general and copywriting in specific, is because if you don't have an actual end game that you are going towards, you're not going to go anywhere. You're actually going to confuse people, because they don't really know what you're trying to get them to do, right? So, you know what I mean? Like that's a huge thing, is you have to know what your intention is. So I want to go into a few formulas. Is there any other questions you guys had before I kind of? The formulas I have are so simple, and they're going to answer a lot of questions that I think people have. But I'm also going to get into where do you find like how do you create that relevancy with what you were saying? How do you cut through the noise? How do you actually become that person that when they see you in their newsfeed, they stop, they pay attention, and they actually listen to what you're saying, they follow through? How do you become that person? Because I know Rhonda does it. I've been able to do it in a specific market, and I've been able to help a lot of people ignore me, while a small niche group of people pay very close attention, and that's all I really need to create like a lifestyle that that I design. Now I design it, not 5 years ago, today.
Yeah, no, I think it's brilliant. And Drew may have some additional questions, because I think that's what really people are looking for. What is my very specific formula, let's say, for writing a really tricky, catchy headline, especially emails? Because as all freedompreneurs should know, you need to be building a list. That is where your goal is. Doesn't matter what you're doing, you need to be building a list. You can be attractive all day long on Facebook, but if you're not getting people to give you their email, you're wasting your breath, so to speak, right? So let's really helping them focus on writing really catchy headlines for emails, and even grabbing attention for Facebook and getting people engaged.
Okay,
yeah, cool.
Perfect.
Cool. And I'm the only couple of things that I just wanted to sort of reinforce, which I think we've all said, is, and I'm going to sort of tie this back to natural selling, so verbal communication, is that we have to always think about what the purpose of our business is. And the number one purpose of our business is to solve other people's problems, right? So that's got to be first and foremost sort of fundamental in your mindset and everything that you do, because if you have a business and the purpose of it is to solve other people's problems, then it's easy to identify what your target market is, because the target market is the people that have a problem that you can solve. And what we need to do is then match the two together. Now, the person may not yet be able to see that your solution is the ultimate solution for their problem, and that's the power of language. That's the journey that we need to take them on, whether that's written or whether that's verbal, because we've got to get them to see for themselves the connection between what it is that we have to offer and the problem that they actually have, once we're able to reveal to them through language that it is a problem, and they're acknowledging it. And then the right people, like you said, the right people will be standing there with their hand up saying, you're the only solution for me, because you've allowed me to see that there is a problem, and I'm prepared to take that next step to change it. So
yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
All right, so you want to go into these formulas, or
what's the formula? I've got my pen ready.
I'm ready.
All right.
I'm ready.
He's ready. He's got his long.
Let's give everyone some time to make sure, guys, on this page, all of you are able to ask a question. Todd's here. He'll make sure that we know what those questions are, because we want to get your questions asked. If you're listening to this recorded inside of our group, you can certainly post them up, and you may be on our podcast. It's going to be launching as well. We'll make sure you get all these questions answered for you, but you got to communicate them, because we don't know what you need, right? So we're going to give you what we can today, but make sure if there's a question that pops up, place it in the comments below. You have to log in to the chat wing. So a lot of you guys have got hundreds of people watching. Not everyone's logged in. Make sure you log in and share some love below. We'll make sure you get your questions answered. All right, Darren, take it away, big guy.
Okay. All right. I'm just looking at my screen. Just want to make sure I've got everything that I want. I literally have 3 acronym formulas that I use almost every day. Sorry, I just went nuts in my ear. I have 3 formulas that I use every single day, whether I'm writing emails, sales letters, doing videos, anything from a simple 1-minute video to a full sales letter, and they all these areas have to be hit, or I know that I'm going to fail in selling what I'm trying to sell, or having an action be taken. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen with you. I think if I know how to do this. Hold on a second. Share screen. Okay. All right, can you see my screen? Yeah, okay. I'm going to bring up this keynote here. Okay, cool. So can you guys see my whole screen?
Yeah, you're good to go.
All right, cool. So basically, these are simple copywriting formulas that turn words into cash less than 30 minutes a day. Okay, and the reason I say less than 30 minutes a day is because if you're doing anything that is about freedom, and you're going to be marketing in a way that is effective, you don't need to be spending hours and hours and hours on simple activities. If you're going to send an email, if you're going to do a video, if you're going to write any sort of content, a Facebook post, all of this is is copywriting. It's just salesmanship in print, in video. That's all copywriting is. There's nothing more complicated to it. However, there are specific formats and formulas that you can follow that will make sure that you hit on all the points that are necessary for someone to go from not knowing who you are, or maybe being slightly aware of who you are, to getting their attention and having them take action, right? And that's ultimately what we want to do with Facebook posts, with emails, with videos that we do. We want someone to go from knowing who we are to taking action on what we want them to do. Okay, whether that action is, it could be anything. It could be liking a post, entering in their email, buying something from us, sharing a video, or just sending us a message on Facebook. All of those things require specific emotions and processes to take place that sometimes are very unconscious, but you can engineer these emotions in your audience if you follow a specific formula. And I know that Rhonda does this a lot, because I watch her videos and she goes through all of these formulas in a natural state. And if you can do this naturally, and it might seem a bit contrived at first, because everything has to have a little bit of specific intentional effort at the beginning. Because when you're learning how to ride a bike, eventually you're going to get to it, so it's unconscious and you're competent in what you're doing. But at the beginning, it's going to be a little bit uncomfortable, and you're going to have to maybe go through a formula each time, and then it becomes natural. You get your voice happening. Okay, and I want you to focus on this during everything that we're doing. Okay, it's a concept I call precision permission, and what this is building your list in a way where the people that are on your list are precisely interested in what you have to offer. There is no question that what you have is what they need, want, and desire, and it will solve their problems. They already know this. They just might not be at the point in their life cycle that they're ready to actually make a purchase. So for example, I have a product that I sell, and I have an email sequence that goes out to my new leads. Now when they opt in for a lead magnet, I know that in the Freedom-Preneur movement in the Academy, I know that I believe there's a training on how to create a perfect lead magnet. And when you create a good lead magnet, when somebody opts into your email list, they already know exactly what they're going to get. And if you can help them consume that information, they are precisely targeted to what you're about to offer them next, okay? And they've given you permission. So these are people that are precisely targeted. You have laser focused them, and they have your permission, or you have their permission to market to them. So these are the type of people that I want you talking to in this sort of language, okay? Talking to random general people is the same as walking up to someone in the supermarket and asking them if they want a book on how to live a freedom lifestyle, right? That's very random. Nobody's interested, and they haven't asked you for information. So that's the kind of movement that I want you to take. I want you to go from someone who is talking to everyone to talking to a specific individual, to your avatar, to someone who is precisely focused on what you want to offer them. And this is what this is exactly what you're gonna do. This formula, the PAS, problem, agitate, solution, or solve, this formula has been around for years and years and years, and can be used in any sort of mode of marketing. Okay? And what you're going to be doing is, number one, identifying and presenting the problem that somebody has. So for example, if you are in the market of someone who wants to lose weight, or someone who wants to get into healthier state of physical being, then the problem that they have is going to be based on 4 separate elements. You're going to create emotional connection to the problem. You're going to talk about the way that they feel, the way that they see themselves, the way that their life is now because of this problem. It doesn't matter what the problem is. It could be arthritis, it could be the lack of money, it could be the lack of time, or the inability to manage different priorities. It could, whatever you're providing a solution to, you want to identify the problem that they have, so they know that, yes, I'm a person with arthritis. You ever hear these commercials on the radio? It's like, are you a male between 30 and 40 who has arthritis? Right? That's specifically identifying the problem and the audience. They're calling you out specifically. So what do you do in order to identify these problems? Well, you talk about the emotional aspects of it. You talk about the sensory aspects. You talk about how someone thinks and sees and hears and touches. Those are all the different areas that you want to talk about their problem. And you want to talk about this in current specific language. So I don't, in all my emails that I write, in any sort of sales letters or Facebook posts or ads that you're writing, you want to make sure that you're speaking in current and very, very specific language. So if you can get very specific with a person's problem, then you're going to have a higher probability that they connect immediately with that message. Okay, and then the next thing you want to do is what we call agitation. Right now, this could be in a very gentle way. Right, you can gently agitate a problem by just expanding some of the issues that come up with that. Going, we take someone into the future and say, well, if you have this problem now, imagine how it'll be 5 years from now if you don't get it fixed, right? A lot of times in weight loss spaces, that's dealing with heart disease or respiratory issues or skin problems. If that's in the business space like we're in with teaching people how to create businesses online, create freedom, create the ability to have ongoing income, where we're agitating something is, well, if you stay in your job today, how is that going to look 5 years from now? Where are you going to be? And I'll give you an example of how the gentleman a few years back agitated my problem. And this is very specific, and it worked wonders. And I actually use this today when speaking to prospects about different opportunities. So if it's a business opportunity where someone is looking at a way to make money or looking at a way to start a business or create an income for themselves, the way that you can agitate that problem of not taking action is by looking out a year, 2 years, 5 years into the future and looking at what would your life be like if nothing changed, right? And I looked at my life and I said, well, I'm unhappy now. I'm not making the money I want to make now. And what happened was I saw a guy come into my office who was doing my job that was 40 years older than me. And he had not expanded his life. He was making the same money as I was, and he was wearing probably the same clothes he was wearing 30 years prior. And I knew that if I continued down the path that I was going, that would have been me. So I actually saw my future right before my eyes, and that expanded and magnified the pain that I was feeling and the problem that I had at that moment in time. It expanded it to the sense that I was now looking for a way out. I said, you know what? I can't do this anymore. There needs to be something else for me to do, and that could be for anything. If you help people get healthy, you need to get people to the place by agitation. And this is what I was talking about before. You can't talk to the wrong person, but like Rhonda said, the wrong person can become the right person over time. And that's through agitation. Okay? And this could be natural agitation, just letting them go through their life and coming up to that solution by themselves, or it's through storytelling and telling stories about how you felt at a certain point in time, giving examples of other people who felt a certain way, and then they got to the point of needing that enough's enough point in time, right? I call this the enough's enough point, where you reach that point where enough is enough and you have to do something, right? That's the point where a sale is made. That's the point where a decision is made. That's the point where you agitate something to the point of enough is enough. And sometimes with a little bit of help, you can get someone to that point faster than they would have on their own, in an authentic, transparent, and with high integrity, okay? And that's through telling stories, and that's through sharing your path. And then the next phase of this is the solution, right? So once you've identified the problem, once you've agitated that and expanded that to where things could be if you let the problem fester, you now integrate the solution. And the solution is something that you offer, whether it's your product, your solution, your service, whether it's a membership or training or whatever it is that you actually provide, and make your solution specific, that it will solve the problem. Make it time-based, that you will, I have this title here, right? The simple copywriting formula that turns words into cash less than 30 minutes a day. So I have something that has a specific time-based solution. right? It turns words into cash in less than 30 minutes a day, right? And then proof is great. If you have proof, you can show, look, this is, Mr. Z, this is Rhonda. She went from the same problem that you had, she got to the point of agitation, and now she used our solution, and this is the result, right? And I'm going to give you a little tidbit here, which we've seen measurable increases in results from market after market that we've done work in, that if you have a specific audience in mind, let's say, for example, you deal with men who are over age 40. Let's say you're someone that is like my market, for example, that I work in a different service I provide, is males between 30 and 40. That's my target market for that product that I offer, and it's usually men with children. Okay, so all the advertising that I do, all of the images that I use, all of the testimonials that I use are men in that certain age group with children, because when someone sees someone that is like themselves, they have an unconscious belief pattern bubble up inside of them that says, you know what, if they can do it, I can do it, or that looks just like me, and he's doing it, and they get that little bit of interest going to say, well, oh, they don't look too different than I do. Have you seen I can go on for a long time about this, but it makes it very intriguing for someone to see someone just like them getting a specific result that they had the same issue with. Okay, so if you can, use examples of people that are in your target market, and you'll find that you'll start attracting the people that are just like you, just like the people that you want to attract. And it's kind of strange when it happens, because you notice that all of your customers, all of your sales, all the leads that are coming through, they all kind of look and act and talk the same. It's because they are the exact audience that you want to talk to. So that was just a little sidebar. So are there any questions about how to do these type of things before I continue?
Let me take a look in our group. I know there are a couple questions that came up, but I think this is really important for everyone to really grasp, because
Sure.
Naturally, the way that I communicate, certainly in video, everything that I do, I follow this exact formula. And like you mentioned earlier, it's conscious. You get this, though, and you know that every communication, every way that you're communicating in all of your copy, you bring people through this process. And if someone gets this one element right here, Darren,
Yeah.
it can completely change the way that they connect and the way that they attract. Especially being someone that really cares a lot about branding. Your brand, the niche market that you're connecting to has to follow along with what your brand is. You can talk to any type of niche if you understand this formula, but if you're really truly connecting to that person's emotions, it also has to be congruent with your own personal brand. Exactly. And I think that the piece too, Darren, that I always like to emphasize is consistency.
Yes.
Because we can problem, agitate, solution all day long. I usually say it's a PAX, because it's a problem, agitate, consistency through the problem and agitation, and the solution will come naturally. And not everyone will grab your offer or take your bite or your hook unless you're consistent. And
exactly, yeah.
Ask you this, because I know this will come up. There's a couple questions that did come through. This is something that I would like to ask. How many would you say touches or eyeballs, how many times does someone really need to see your offer before they actually do grab the bait and either click a link in your experience?
Okay, so it's funny that you mentioned that, because I'm actually going to show. Hold on a second. I don't know if you can still see my screen, but I'm going to.
Yeah, you're navigating, so this is good. You're actually you're moving through, so awesome.
A sales letter.
Like a
so
mobile.
Basically says, and this is from one of my sales letters, your prospect needs to see your offer 15 times before making a buying decision. And 15 years ago, you could expect a buying decision after only 3 exposures. Okay?
Mm.
And that's from Tony Robbins, who mentioned that on a podcast that I was listening to with one of the top marketing experts around, Jay Abraham. So 15 times, right? Can you imagine not being consistent, right? Imagine somebody is watching you and they need 15 exposures. That could be 15 Facebook posts. It could be 5 Facebook posts, 5 emails, 5 videos, that they need before they actually make a buying decision, which could all come within a 4 or 5 day period, right? They could be watching you. They could be going through your YouTube channel. They could be going through your Facebook page. They could be going through your blog and all this information. And if you're not consistent in your messaging, even within a certain room of your marketing house, right? You've got your Facebook page, you've got your email list, you've got your YouTube channel, you've got your blog. All these are different rooms. If someone's going through different rooms and they're finding different messages and messages that aren't focused on the same issue, that confuses people, right? And a confused mind is not an action-taking mind. So you want to have consistency, which brings clarity to your market. And it's critical that you bring that up, because that's why we focus a lot on consistently following up with your leads and having emails that go out and videos and Facebook posts, because people need to see you over and over and over again. And if they're not seeing you, they're seeing somebody else. That's a guarantee. If you look at Facebook, you're getting ads every single day from people who are stepping up and marketing to your audience, and you need to be kind of front and center as well.
Hey, I think this just might be a coincidence, but it's interesting that it's 15 points, because when you're in our experience, when you're selling anything that's of a higher ticket nature, it takes 15 conversations to move them from being a front-end lead and potentially the buyer of your tripwire product to ascending them to the highest tier in your offer, assuming that you've even got one that deep. There's usually 5 conversations to advance them from the front-end offer to whatever that sort of first major significant tier is, and then there's 10 further conversations that have to have occurred, and they may be 10 conversations as short as 3 minutes to as long as half an hour, particularly if you're in that sort of high-ticket realm. Interesting.
You know what it is, but this is what's important, I think, for everyone to hear is Drew is of course, a master at phone sales, and that's also why we've decided to, combine and form our alliance with Drew, because what we have started to find too, Drew, is in our new academy, just by adding in that strategy session that now Brian offers, and of course Drew is going to be part of the new strategy sessions. Many of them have had strategy sessions with you, because we offered a free strategy session for those in the last call. What we have always found is when you and I started in this industry, we were always doing phone sales, right?
Yeah.
That's what we did. Everything. I mean, people now in this online digital marketplace, they think, cool, let's just send traffic, and they should just buy. But see, what we've learned is early on, heck, Drew, we were generating leads and leads and leads, and we were hammering the phones. I mean, I was calling 3,000 leads before I made one sale. Now, 3,000. First off, that probably meant that I was really awful on the phone.
Maybe you needed some phone coach.
I'm not recruiting you.
Right? Exactly. 3,000 leads. I had made a sale, but also it was because of the lead. We talked about this earlier. You can't sell the right thing to the wrong person. So all this stuff comes together, and this equation actually comes together where you got to find the right people. You got to learn the targeting. You got to understand how to find that person. You got to understand their language, and then you've got to communicate them properly so you move them through that sales funnel process. So a lot of people have been sold this magic formula that says just send tons and tons and tons and tons of traffic to a link that's going to make you tons and tons and tons of money. Guess what? It's bullshit. No.
Yeah, and here's the thing, like when you understand the fundamentals of what we're talking about now, that's not a bad thing.
That's right.
Because what you'll realize is you actually can make more money with fewer customers, but just connecting with the right customers with the right written language and the right follow-up communication.
Exactly.
Your business becomes more efficient and more effective.
That's right. And magnetic, because that's something certainly, the one gap that I was able to fill was when I went from corporate to online marketing, was how in the heck am I going to get my energy, my excitement, my passion in front of someone's face? Because I know that human connection and just the body language itself helps people connect with you. Now, if you have a great offer, then you've now got a great connection and a great offer that comes together and you have a sale. And so now in this digital marketplace that we're in, helping you guys understand that you have to know your story, your brand, and who you are and the values that you've got. You master that, you understand what your message is, how you want to connect, then you find that one person, and chances are they are just like you. You talk this past message that Darren is illustrating every single time to that one person. Just think of that one person, and let me give you guys an example of what I did when I was, started working online. I was a corporate executive that had a problem, right? My problem was I didn't want to put a child in daycare. So I was making enough money, so that wasn't really my problem. My problem was I needed to replace the money and not put my child in daycare. So there was a story behind it. I found that one woman that was just like me. I talked to her, I shared with her my problems, and then I offered this solution, which was now I found how to work online. See, guys, you get that one person, and chances are you want to know how to find them. I'm going to really give you a nugget. How you're going to find that one person? Look in the mirror. Look in the mirror. Say, you are the person that you're trying to attract. Now, certainly, as we get more advanced, and I know that Drew, and this is something that Darren talks about, you can really, guys, find any offer. You find that one person that's going to want that offer, and you can speak to them directly. Like there's things like ClickBank, right? You got millions of awesome products. If you look at that, if you buy an awesome product, let's say from ClickBank, right? You become an affiliate, and then you decide to write what is that one person? Health and wellness. You've got to find that one person that wants that product, and boom, now you're connecting, you're communicating with them. So the mastery comes from understanding what that person wants. And I think, Darren, that's what you're illustrating here, but everyone needs to get that piece, right? Know what you can.
It's funny that you say that because I was writing, you know what, I'm actually going to go back to something I was writing today in my email, if I can find it, because let me see here. I'm going to go into my email and show you an email that I wrote just earlier today, and this is my personal formula for success. Okay, and it starts with these three letters: L, O, and C. Okay, as you can see, guys, I'm very big on acronyms. Okay, I love acronyms. Okay, because everything falls down to these three things. This is like, it's funny that this night's happening. Okay, so the first thing is your list, right? Is your prospect, your list of prospects, and these have to be targeted, right? What Rhonda was just talking about. This has to be someone who's looking for specific information, right? Who has a specific problem. That comes first. Without this person, you have nothing. You have absolutely nothing without the right person that you're going to have, right? And I think a lot of people are too busy falling in love with their product, okay, and falling in love with the solution, and falling in love with the specific, way of solving a problem versus falling in love with your prospect, right? And falling in love with that person, not that mom who's taking their kid to daycare, right? And falling in love with that woman enough to spread your message to her, right? Enough to actually talk to her and say, you know what, this is the mission that I'm on, to free people from that emotion, that feeling, and that lifestyle. I'm bringing them over to what I'm doing right now. But if you go out and you start talking about your solution before you even know who you're talking to, then every message that you have is going to fall flat, right? And then the next thing is your offer, right? Your offer is super important. Your offer has to be really good. Your offer has to be authentic. It has to have integrity. It has to be honest. It has to actually work, right? And I was talking about something here. You know, if you have an email list of people who want to learn about a specific area of gardening, but then you go and start trying to sell them something on how to increase the speed of their tennis serve, it doesn't make, there's no connection there, right? You have to actually have everything working in tandem. You have to have your right prospect. You have to have the right offer, right? Yeah, and then you have to have the right copy, right? And that's the last thing. Like the copy, like I'm a copywriter, and I'll tell you that the copy is the last thing that I ever think of, right? And I'm a copywriter, right? So you know that goes to show you that the magic happens when you have a list and a good offer. When you have the right people and a great solution, you can say it doesn't matter what you say, you will sell it, because someone that has a burned, you know, forearm and has been sitting in the hot sun in Arizona and is literally itching and scratching and their skin is peeling, and it doesn't matter if you come across in a rickety, you know, rickshaw and you've got aloe and you've got something beautiful that's going to solve that problem. They don't give a shit what you look like. They're going to take that aloe, okay? And it doesn't matter if, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter what you say or how you look, or if your page is designed all fancy. If you solve their problem better than someone else, they're going to come to you, right? So that's kind of like the anti-copywriting training. But when it really comes down to it, that's what matters. It matters that you can actually solve the problem that your people have, and that people like Rhonda and people like Drew are there as resources, right? Rhonda's going to teach you how to do that. She's going to teach you how to, you know, get your brand out there and get your face out there. And Drew's going to be the one that's on the phone, and he's able to, you know, teach you and be a resource to help you, like, make these high ticket sales. I don't know how to sell high ticket stuff, right? But if I ever sell a high-ticket thing, you better believe Drew's the one that I'm going to want on the phone, right? You know what I mean? So that's just the way that I think. Anyways, do you want me to go on?
That's why he's here.
Right, so
like
I'm thinking like that, I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to get on the phone for, you know, 10 times in a row and take someone from buying a $7 product to buying something worth $30,000. I don't know how to do that. Okay, it's just not my expertise. I can write, and I can sell my own services, right? Because I know my audience, but I can't sell that kind of stuff, right? I'll let Drew do that.
You know, hey, you know, it's really interesting that you say that, because I reckon you could convert to the phone like that, because it's all about the power in the questions. Yeah. And when you actually learn the fundamentals, again, of how to connect with people in a natural conversational way and put yourselves in their shoes, and actually, like you said something that's really important. You said you have to, for a moment, fall in love with your customer.
Oh.
Yeah.
And see, that's exactly what happens when you're trying to connect with someone and take them from a $7 tripwire to a $30,000 product. You've actually got to completely detach yourself from a sale being made, and you need to first focus on the person and their problem and determine whether there's even a sale there at all. Because if you don't have a solution to your problem, then there's no sale, and you would be not in integrity if you tried to force a sale out of nothing. So first and foremost, to get good at this, you actually have to get good at falling in love with your customer and connecting with them in a way in which you already do with words.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so good. I'm gonna sell high ticket stuff. Okay,
done.
Forget that.
Yeah, you're on.
And to add on, because I know that Darren, you've got a couple other things. I want everyone to have this, and we've got some questions because it's vital. This was this is the one thing when I learned, going from 3,000 leads calling to sell a $1,500 product from the phone all the way up through, what was it, like 24,000, Drew? That was the all-in, so to speak, we sold. I was told this: don't put $ on their foreheads. This is exactly what you guys are talking about right now. When I realized when I was making a phone call, it was all about me. I needed to make money. I wanted to make a sale. I wanted to lose my job. I wanted to be home with my daughter. I. It had to go them. What is it in it for them? People could give a rat's ass, guys, about you. But what we do is that we gracefully share our story, our inspiration, so that they can connect with us. Then we say, how can we help you? Because there's no longer the dollar sign on their forehead. Now it's about truly, is what we offer, right now, is you sitting here, is it right for you to come to Bali, right? That's a question many people had. Should I come there? Is this even right for them? But if we were to be selling someone on the phone, this is what you need, whoa, back off, back off, back off. Is it, we're all coming together to teach you, to put a business in a box together for you here in Bali. Is that something that you're looking for? Would that help you move forward in your process to get towards your goals better? Ding, 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 number one, right? Number two is, well, maybe you just need to learn and be part of a community where you can feel better about staying here. Join the academy, right? Or is it, do you really want to look into higher ticket offers because you want to add to your multiple streams of income? Now let's send you to Drew. Do you just see how that just naturally works? And I'm not selling you at all. I want what's best for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Powerful, right?
Yeah. It feels so good. You're not sticky or slimy. You feel amazing because you're just now solution-based communicator that's just got great things to offer. And that's why, Drew, I know why we decided to come together, because we found this problem. We're like, we got to solve this now. And then, of course, this is why Darren's coming. And I know we've got Scott Smith, who's also, he's actually communicating with our audience, which is awesome. Thank you for that. Scott is a dominant force that's going to be here in Bali, too. And we're all coming together for this alliance for this reason. This is, right?
I'd like to, I can only imagine for a moment, because like I outsource my copy to Darren because like I focus on what my core competency is and I realize where I can add the most value, right? So there's another message in that. But I can only imagine if I had the opportunity to be inside his skin for a moment and he's actually in the flow of writing the copy, that he's actually immersed in that process and putting himself in the shoes of the person that the solution is for. If he's writing it, if the energy almost that is going into the copy is written from how many of these widgets can I sell? Yeah. Then that wouldn't come across in the it wouldn't resonate off the page. People would see through that in a heartbeat.
It's funny you say that because over the years, I've written thousands of emails just to my own personal list, and then hundreds and hundreds of others for clients. And I know which emails actually produce the best results. We track everything, so I know exactly which emails work. I know exactly which headlines work. I know exactly which links people click on, and the ones that. And it's interesting what I've done. I've started focusing lately much more on my energy and how I feel when I do certain things.
Yeah, and right.
Yeah. Whenever I'm in a powerful state, and I feel really good, and I'm in high integrity, and I just really believe in what I'm doing. Like there's clients I won't take on because I don't believe they have a good list, and I don't believe they have a good offer. So there's actually clients that I don't allow myself to work with.
Drew looks like because
what's
yeah, we made the cut. He actually said.
Yeah, you made the cut, right? Because I know that when I'm out of alignment with what they're offering, I don't have, as a person, I don't have the ability to just shut myself down and be like, okay, I'm going to go sell this, Viagra pill, right? Because that's what they sell, and I'm a copywriter, so I'm just going to sit there and write about that. The reality is, I want to believe in what I'm doing, and I want to actually put that energy into what I write. Because I want good results for my clients, right? I actually want to be able to hear back from them and say, you know what, we ran that campaign and it killed, right? Because you were in a good state when you were writing, and I'll actually shut my day down if I'm not in a good state. I won't create because I know that it all flows through the result, and it's a good lesson for everyone because I think a lot of people try to force themselves to write and create when And when you're coming from a place of forcing it, it's actually not going to create the result that you want. It'll create the opposite result. So I try to get myself into a good state of flow where the ideas are almost not coming from my head. They're coming from just me being. And when I'm writing for a client that's not maybe in a market that I'm totally immersed in, I will immerse myself in it, right? So a question that I get a lot, and I'll talk about this next formula in a second, but a question I get a lot of is, where do you come up with, can you guys hear me? I know that I just went mute. I just want to make sure you guys can hear me okay.
You're good.
Okay, good. A question I get a lot is, like, where do you come up with ideas, and how do you know what people are thinking, right? How do you talk to, if you're, for example, I write for a client, and they are in a space where, like, they were selling educational products to parents of children between certain ages in a different country that I didn't really know about the lifestyle. I didn't really know about the culture. So what I had to do is I actually had to immerse myself in that culture. So I'd go on websites and read publications and go into forums and really just see how people talk and just become a part of that community, because I wanted to know how people were talking about certain things. I wanted to know how people were interacting with their brands and how people were actually feeling about the problems that they were having. And what I got from that was I got some new problems that people were experiencing that they weren't telling the person that's trying to sell them something, but they were telling each other. So a big idea that you guys can use is, if you have an audience of people that are, let's say, for example, they're women in certain age groups, what I recommend doing is going to, and maybe Rhonda can do this on another session. I don't want to go into this now, but I know that she does a lot on Facebook. But what I do a lot of is I go into Facebook and in their advertising platform, I can find out what people are interested in when they're in different demographics, and I can look at what pages they like and what celebrities they're into, and I'll actually go to those pages and just kind of snoop around as one of those people, and it's funny what you find, because you become a part of that community. You get into the mind of your prospect, and then you could write from a place like you're writing to a peer, you're writing to a friend, versus writing from the stage where you're trying to sell something to someone. You're actually writing to someone or talking to someone that's kind of on the same side of the table as you, and you're just kind of helping them along the way to a solution that they ultimately want. And that's the mind frame that I try to get into. And that kind of, maybe that gives a little insight into.
Well, it does, Darren. And this is really valuable. That was valuable, because I want everyone to really listen again. And this is something that I do when I'm looking to find because this was a question. Keely asked this question: is there just one problem, or are you just rephrasing the problem constantly, right? If there's only a problem, how do you recreate problems? You just answered that question. Is there's always underlying problems, and how, when I began and how I communicate, let's say blog posts or even my content that I'm writing Facebook posts on, I will actually find that exact customer. I go on Facebook, I find that demographic, what that woman likes, and then you look in their profile, what they write about, what the people like. Because I actually go on profiles because I can see more of what they're writing and how they communicate. So I will go, and search for, a woman that is my age group, and look at the things that she actually likes and books that she reads. That gives you content all day long for blog posts. What kind of books do they like, right? What are they looking for, so that you can talk their language in an email or in a broadcast and connect with them in ways that in their language.
Exactly. And another thing is, I go to Amazon and I look at books that they like, and then I'll go to Amazon and I'll look at all the reviews and other things that they like, and you find what people talk about all kinds of things online, and they don't know I don't know who they think is reading it, but it's a gold mine for information, and also kind of angles to talk about, just topics. There's never a shortage of things to talk about when you love your audience. There's never a shortage, because they're going through the same thing. They're going through the information. They're reading things. They're leaving comments. They're talking about TV shows. They're talking about all kinds of things, and all you have to do is talk about the same thing, and then bridge it into how it relates to what you offer, right? Like that's the main key, is how do you then take what they're talking about and turn it into a message about what you're offering, right? And that's, I'll go into this formula, because that, I think that it ties really closely into it, because the reality is getting someone's attention, right? It is pretty simple when you know what they're talking about already, right? When you know what someone's problems are, when you know what TV show someone's watching, when you know what struggles someone has, it's pretty easy to get their attention, because all you have to do is highlight that problem, talk about that pop culture situation, talk about the latest news, and then bring them towards what you're doing. So I'll give you an example of a way that I did this. Okay. So for example, actually, you know what? I'm going to. No, I won't do that. It'll be too difficult to find. But I'll give you an example. So back when I know that a lot of my market, a lot of the people that I market to, watch UFC, the Ultimate Fighting Championships, and one of the main people that was really huge last year, even the last couple of years, was Rhonda Rousey. And before she lost her last match and she lost the title, she was undefeated, right? And she was in movies. She was just an image of a woman who had a kind of an interesting past, and she was brought up, and now she was this champion fighter. But what I wanted to relate this to, offering something to buy. Okay, and it was a product that was going to help people get around other people that were successful. Okay, and what I wanted to do was kind of position this in a way where, by purchasing a product, it would kind of give you access to people at a high level, and people that were doing things in a very specific way that was going to get you a certain result, right? So it was going to help you break through in a certain area. Okay. So the first thing that I did was I looked at what people were talking about in the marketplace, and I said, well, this is Rhonda Rousey. She just won. This was actually a day after she won a fight, I think in like 34 seconds. Okay, so in 34 seconds she knocks this woman out or something, and it was in all the news, right? So I wanted to leverage the news story in order to get people's attention on me, however, still be relevant to what was going on in pop culture, in the news, so that it was almost a natural progression. So I talked about Rhonda Rousey, about how she was cool, calm, and collected. How she was just the face of calmness, and her opponent was loud, hypey, in her face. And what I did was I created a blog post, and I used an image of Rhonda Rousey, and it was basically Rhonda Rousey's secret to something. And ultimately, what I wanted to do was pre-frame the mindset of a winner, and pre-frame the mindset of someone who is quiet in preparation, and who gets around the people and spends time doing the work and actually puts in the effort. I wanted to pre-frame the reality that doing something that's worthwhile, becoming the best, becoming the top in your game, requires hard work behind the scenes. And someone at that level, someone at Rhonda Rousey's level, doesn't just wake up one day, get in the ring or in the octagon, and win in 34 seconds because she just decided to wake up one day and now she's gonna be the champion, right? It took years and years and hours in the gym, hammering out her skills, being a judo champion, having this fire in her gut to actually reach that level, right? It took so much effort, and I wanted to tell people that it takes work. So I actually went through the story of what it means to prepare behind the scenes, and then when your time is there, when your time is ready to shine, when your time is ready to actually take a step up and actually be that person in the forefront, that you're going to have all that success behind you and all that preparation, right? And then I use that to let them know that if they want to get around the people, if they want to be able to prepare, if they want to be able to learn from the best, if they want to learn how to practice with the best and get the best access, they need to be able to, they need to actually step up and do that right now, so that in the future they can be that person that gets into the ring of their own life and achieves greatness. They can get into that space in their own life. So it basically it had to go through a process. So getting someone's attention is really just using whatever method that you have to have someone just stop for 2 seconds and say, oh, what's Darren talking about? What's Rhonda talking about? What's Drew talking about? Right? What is this? Right? It could be an image. It could be a different emotion. It could be a subject line of your email. It could be a headline of a page. It could be the first few words that you use in a video. But the best thing, and this is something that not many people teach you, so pay attention. The best thing is your own name, is your brand, is who you are. If my name pops up in someone's email inbox that's on my list, that is a hyper responsive person, they open their email not because of some fancy headline, not because of some fancy tactic or trick that I've used. They open it because it's from me. And when Rhonda sends an email, someone opens it because it's from Rhonda. It's not some fancy headline. It's because her name is the headline. That's the emotion. That's the subject line. That's the image, because that's the brand, right? The subject line or the headline to give some knowledge about what they're going to get. But if you can build your own attention around your name and around your brand, that's the biggest power that you have. And then the interest is really talking about something that's relevant to somebody, getting inside somebody's mind. And then the desire is Rhonda touched on this before. It's what's in it for me, right? This is what your prospect's thinking. What's in it for me? What's so special about what Darren's talking about that I'm going to benefit? What do I get from this? Okay, I'm going to put up money. I'm going to put up time. I'm going to put up effort. What do I get? What do I get for it? Okay, and then action is really just telling someone what to do. The key of a lot of success is that you have to be okay with telling people what to do, right? And it's actually a good thing. Jay Abraham talks about the strategy of preeminence, and this is what Drew was talking about before, which is you're actually doing someone a service by selling them. You're doing someone a service by having them go through your process and buy your products and buy your services and come to your events. You're doing someone a service because you know that everything you're offering is of such high value and high integrity that by not doing that, they're actually leaving a piece of their own success on the table, right? So telling someone, look, this is what you're going to do. Click this link. When you get to the next page, you're going to sign up for our academy. You're going to sign up for this product. You're going to enter your email. You're going to do whatever it is that you want someone to do, and this is exactly what's going to happen after. Tell someone exactly what to do. People love that, right? The worst thing you can do is leave someone and be like, okay, I want something, right? Ever walk into Costco and you're like, I want to buy something, but no one's there to take your order, right? It's horrible. So that's basically the last formula is get someone's attention, pique their interest, tell them what's in it for them, and then show them how to get the result, period.
That's awesome. I love that. I sort of simplified, and we, in my world, in the online sales world, we sort of always talk about, sort of three things. Here's what I've got. Here's what I'll do for you. This is exactly what I want you to do now. Because always in the back of my mind is confused people don't buy, and most people love to buy things. They hate to feel sold. So if you in this sort of natural conversational way or through written language can take people through that process and allow them to make the decision on purchasing something, then they're buying. They're not being sold to. But I see so many marketers, like what I call derelict in their duties, because They write a whole bunch of copy, but the copy doesn't then eventually tell someone what it is that you want them to do. So the person's left sort of hanging there going, well, what do I do now? Thanks.
Right, exactly.
See ya.
Thanks for information from somebody else.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I usually tell we don't have time for it on this call, but maybe we'll have time for it one day where I talk about my frustration with the local cycle shop here that took me 4 attempts to go back to them to actually sell me the initial front end product, the bike, and then I actually wanted to see how many times I would have to walk into the shop again for them to actually give me everything that I wanted, because they were derelict in qualifying what I wanted, what I was going to do with it, and what all of the other little bits and pieces that I needed that I hadn't even thought about, had somebody asked me the right qualifying questions and actually taken a little bit of ownership and control of the process and said, you know what, Drew, based on the discussions that we've just had and the way in which you're going to use this bike and the experience that you want to have, you actually don't need that. You need this, and you also need this, and this. Here's the bundled offer. Are you ready to move forward? And I would have walked out there satisfied customer. And marketers do this every day of the week. They leave their customers sort of hanging. It's yeah.
No, I'm with you, because that what we'll find. I'm gonna get some of these questions answered before we close. So just hang tight. Is what we do find is that so many people, but they're willing also to compromise really what their values are, And so what they end up doing is that they either don't sell, they don't guide them properly to the right solution, or they're just selling the wrong solution because they're compromising what what their values are and their brand. I think that's why I'm such a strong believer in really sharing what you're passionate about, what you believe in, what your values are, and then walking them through the right offer. And if it's not the right offer, be willing to say, I can't help you. Maybe I should then. And I think, guys, this is a next level of being a very heart-centered, true integrity-based marketer. Someone that knows what they are, has an amazing brand, is willing to share their problems that they solve so that they can help you solve yours, and then walking them through this physical process that Drew takes, right, which is phone sales and asking the proper and the right questions, and then saying, this is what I'd like for you to do next. This is, I think, best for you. Or you know what? I can't help you. And being okay with that. Or then now finding and cooperating, right, with the right people that says, you know what? I think you're too advanced, or you maybe need this. Let me introduce you to this guy. Because what happens with marketers, I think, across our space, guys, they want to generate a lead, capture that person in their mind, and you can't talk to them because you're going to steal them. And they have to buy my stuff.
Yeah.
My stuff, right? We're getting away from that. We're getting into offering what people need, serving them, opposed to selling them stuff that they don't need.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, my mentor always he interesting, and I think your community is actually going to get to share a call with him coming up in a couple of weeks. But one of my mentors is the only person that's been invited into Deepak Chopra's institute to advise him on actually how to sell in a natural conversational way. Really interesting guy, my mentor. And he talks that, and so all of his training with me has always come from a place of abundance. If there's not a sale there in the context of serving the needs of other people, then don't try and create one. That's not coming from a place of abundance. That's actually coming from a place of scarcity. The right person for the solution will be just around the corner. You just need to let it go and move on. And that person that you're dealing with in that moment of time will continue on their journey, and they're going to actually find whatever is the right fit for them, hopefully. Unless they stumble across a marketer with no integrity.
Yeah,
anyway.
Unfortunately happens. Many times. Yeah. Darren, are you open to answering some questions? Because this is really awesome that what Drew just brought up and was shared. We have an incredible lineup. You know, as we were saying, coming together, we've got the right people that we're going to bring together. I'm going to share with you guys who's coming up, who you're going to be able to learn from, and who's actually going inside of the academy as well. And as contributors, because of the heart-centered focus that we have for all of our followers and our tribe members. Darren, there was a question that came in, and Dave wanted me to ask, what is the single most effective copy you've ever written? Why do you think it was successful, and can it be leveraged over all and any businesses? It's kind of a loaded question, I think, but maybe let me simplify it, because I had one specifically that I wanted to ask. Is there one or two, or maybe your top 3 headlines that you've ever written that just get mad open rates that you overuse over and over again?
I'm always reluctant to share, like,
everyone uses it.
Here's why. I'm reluctant to share, like, the secret headline or the, you know, this work, because I'll tell you why. What works for me might not work for you, right? And by following what worked once is almost a guarantee that it's not going to work for you, okay? Because you're chasing, you know, the dragon, right? And it's like, I just want, like, this, you know what I mean? Like, you're chasing the dragon. I don't know if anyone understands what that means, but
yeah.
Anyway, but basically, you know, there are formulas, right, that work, right? There are formulas. Curiosity works really well, right? That's why all those clickbait headlines and things from, you know, BuzzFeed and, you know, all those things work really well. It's because they're curiosity is an emotion that if it's not quenched, it eats at you, okay? So sometimes using a little bit of curiosity is great, you know, like, you know, telling people that you've got some sort of secret, or you know, like, I just did this, you know, and it made me, you know, $100,000, you know, something crazy like that, is always going to work really well, because people want to know, like, they want to know what's on the inside, right? They want that inside track, they want that secret formula, and that's why this question was asked, right? Yeah. Because that's what people want. They want the inside track. They want to know, what are the people doing that are making all the money? What are all the people doing that's getting results? Like, what's that secret? And you want to know what the secret is? There is no secret.
I knew it.
That's the secret. Right? The secret is, like, letting people believe there's a secret, right? That's, like, the ultimate secret, is make someone believe there's a secret, right? That's the secret.
Well, you know, Darren, too, I think that testing, really, people need to do it. That's the first thing. First, always say, I don't ever do it right, but I do it, and I do it consistently, whatever the heck it is, and I fail like crazy. But you know what? The one thing that works is because I do it. I'm not afraid to just go and say, screw it, I'm sending an email. So many people will sit there and go, let me think about this copy. Let me think about my story. Let me see if I can do a video. Does my makeup look okay? Do I know what I'm saying? Do it!
Yeah.
And it works. But one thing, there is a couple that work for us, and I want to differentiate this. My husband, Brian, his best open one is dude. Mine is not dude. But his is dude. Dude, period. He got it from Frank Kern because he's similar to Frank Kern, so he started mimicking it. That works for Brian. Ours works a lot for how to. I never put, let me show you how to make any money. If anyone sees me show you how to make money, fire me. Because I will never say that, because it's so against my values. But others pronounce money around like mad because that's their audience.
Yeah.
See, because I know my audience. So I think my secret is just know your audience, know what they like to hear, know the languaging they like to use. And it is not dude for me. The Swanos is dude all day.
Yeah, exactly right. Like, it's funny. I found that I have my email list for one of the things that I sell. The majority are like middle-aged women, right? And and this was not on purpose. Okay, this was not. Eventually it turned into being on purpose, and I started in a certain age group because they were the ones that were paying attention and they were the ones that were buying, right? So I targeted my marketing into that group. But it's funny because I can't send an email to that group of people talking like I talk to some other people, right? It just won't. It doesn't work very well, right? And I just think that you just have to know who you're talking to, and always be authentic with the messaging that you're putting out, and then it'll connect, right? Is Rhonda frozen?
Yeah, she said no. She's good. I see how you see how you see how curiosity works. I want to know what Brian said after dude. What? What did he say? Dude, what? Dude, where's my car? Dude, are we going for a surf? Dude, what?
Yeah. Or this happened. We use this. This just happened, or this happened. Can you believe it? Like, I want to know what can you believe, and then it always leads into, right, whatever the copy is for the day, and it's always story based. Everything that we do really is story based, because of course we are attraction marketers. So we don't use a lot of slick copy. We do use more connection copy, attraction marketing. That's our style. Yeah. When you start digging in deeply, I mean, copywriting is it's a learned skill for certain. Although, guys, you can be a copywriter just by telling your story, and that's why I want everyone's gonna be like, we're gonna go right in the marketplace right now and click on Darren's face, because Darren is gonna be our copywriter, and he can be. He's kind of busy. We hope our stuff may not be ready for you now. I'm kidding, but right, because he's there, but he's there for a reason. We teach you guys this because we want you to know what is important and that you can actually do it right now. I mean, being just a good storyteller and communicating and being a good writer isn't being good. I'm horrible, although I just speak my voice, and my voice is just this. And so when I'm doing videos and you're doing your videos and you're connecting with an audience, guys, it's your voice. So you can be a great copywriter because it's you are the copywriter. It's not being good.
Yeah.
Can I just put my 10 cents worth on the flip side?
Yeah.
If it's a really important project to you, and you acknowledge that you're good but not great, then try and find someone like Darren. You need to outsource it. So
you either outsource it or you just do it.
Yeah. You've got
it'll take you a long time.
So if I have like big projects, if I want like a compelling ebook written, or if I want a 20-40 email sequence written, if I have a big project that's really important and it's going to be integrated into a sales funnel, and that sales funnel is going to go to work for me, then I just look at the economics of me doing it and maybe doing a half-baked job at it versus going to a skillful person like Darren. And it's a no-brainer. So what I would say is, absolutely, put your heart and soul into writing passionately on the things that you can do on a daily basis. But if you're doing big projects and it's for a process that can go to work for you in the background, invest the time, invest the money, and get someone to get it done right.
Absolutely. I mean, Darren knows. Heck, everyone knows here. You guys are part of our tribe. We've got the new academy releasing. I'm like, I am not going to be the first person that's going to put all of my copy on these sales pages. We contacted Darren direct and said, listen, you know our story. Let's share it, put it into right context, and that's what happened. Because it's true. When you have something that you really care about, there are experts that can do it. And I am huge. Freedompreneurs need to have their time. Otherwise, all we're doing is spinning our wheels like a Ferrari and Ice, doing everything. And outsourcing is one of the most valuable, right, skills to know. Outsource. And that's why we've got Darren in the marketplace, and why we have our virtual assistant groups that we trust, because everyone needs to have the access to that. So let me make Darren, his slides, Darren popped off, but he's still there. I want to make sure the questions were answered, because I think we answered quite a few of the questions that came through in our communication, which was reframing problems through story. Then there was, let's see, we make sure that we got all these questions answered. Okay, so someone asked is, do you think it's human awareness you have, or have you actually studied more psychology or both that has allowed you to become a better copywriter? Is there some recommendations you may have, Darren, that where people can go, I want to actually study this so I understand it?
Yeah, for sure. Sorry, I just got kicked off there for a second, but I'm back. Yeah, so number one, I just study humans, okay? Just human behavior. Everything about human behavior I love. I love seeing what gets people to respond, how people react, what goes on and what people are responding to, and why the people make certain decisions based on the things that they're seeing, right? So I like to just watch. I kind of observe. In person. I'm actually quite quiet, right? And I sit places and I just watch people and kind of see how people react and interact with each other. But for actual sitting down and reading, if you want to read some good books, I would read Influence by Dr. Robert Cialdini. It's called Influence: The Power of Persuasion, and you'll learn the psychological reasons why people do the things that they do. Okay, there's that type of thing. The other one is The Tipping Point by Malcolm Gladwell, because you learn about why certain fads and why certain trends become certain trends, right? And in that book, it talks a lot about statistics and things like that, but there's also a few examples about certain things that have happened that you can learn how to leverage in your business. If you actually see the message, there's actually a message there about how they take how they make fashion trends become fashion trends, and they find different things, and there's certain types of personalities that you'll see in the marketplace, where if you can leverage the different types of personalities of people, you'll learn how to build a good business. And it's really interesting if you actually learn, if you actually look at things from a different perspective. There's that one, and then there's also a book that I read a while ago. It's called Women Make the Best Salesmen, and it's actually a story. I forget who wrote it, but it was about this. It's a woman salesperson, and she wrote about her approach to sales and why she was so powerful and why she could outsell any man in her office. And it was all about what we talked about tonight. It was all about understanding your audience, connecting the emotions, really just talking about what's going on in someone's life and being that one person that gets the audience, right? And that's really it's really it.
I have my wife Lulu ask me all the time, will you give me all of the resources that you've studied to get good at natural selling? And I say, absolutely no chance. There is absolutely
resources, and all the other ones, the 100 other ones, I'll never tell you because then I'll be out of a job.
Yeah, well, I'm like sitting here thinking women do make the best salespeople, and if my wife actually just honed her skills in a few areas, she would absolutely always, without a doubt, get what she wants. Yeah. Not that she doesn't anyway, right?
So wait a minute.
No. Don't you women always get what you want? You always get what you want. You get it through brute force or asking questions.
I just ride both sides of the fence. I either barrel someone over or I caress them.
Exactly. I'm glad I'm here and Swano's there. I'm happy Swano's there.
Yeah, Swano's good at that's where the balance comes from. He asks good questions and he just knows whatever he asks, I'm going to get it anyway. So.
And he takes good instructions like we all do.
Yeah, right? Yeah, this is a whole different call. But guys, this has been incredibly valuable because I know that our followers have definitely they've learned a lot, and the tribe has learned a lot. Darren, I really appreciate you. But again, this is where you guys can go next. Certainly, if you do have a need, we are creating that Freedom-Preneur marketplace where we want you to know that everything that you need, we have the right resources, we know the right people, they share the same values, and they will work just as hard, if not better. We want to create a hub for you to know who to contact, and if we don't have someone inside of our marketplace, then ask us. Being an Academy member, you get more benefits because you're a part of, the membership. If you're in our tribe and you're in the group, it's fine. Everything that we offer in today's call is free. It's pure value with the purest of intention, so that you certainly can get access to any of our marketplace. We'll make sure you guys have the link how to do that. But more importantly, if you're part of the Academy, you get more benefits. You get, better discounts, whatever. But it's more benefits because Darren's also going to be teaching inside of our Academy. He's going to be teaching at our next Bali event, teaching on what he's talking now, going a bit deeper with our private mastermind attendees. And again, if you are interested in Bali, I know it's coming up close or soon, April 1st to the 5th, reach out to myself, Drew, or any of our tribe members and say, I'm really interested in that. There are a couple spots we have available. I know Scott Smith has been in the group. Scott is he'll be training as well. Incredible panel, Drew, that you guys have put together, and you really have invited me to this event.
Yeah.
And I'm excited for it because Scott and Drew are incredible, and they've done amazing things with the process they take people through with their natural selling and the way that they communicate in phone sales. And we decided to combine forces, and they invited me to be a speaker. And I said, can I please invite some of our tribe members that have a need? And they're like, yeah, let's open it up a bit more from these, the 10. We'll open it up to a bit more people, up to 15. And I know that number of you this last week, I mean, God, we have so many questionnaires, Drew, that were filled out. So if you guys are haven't gotten a call yet, you will. If you're really eager, like I'm doing this, make sure that we know so that we'll reach out to you first. With that private strategy session with either myself, Brian, or Drew. And then, guys, coming up, we've got some really fun stuff. I mean, on this page, if you guys are here, last week, Stephen Moody was part of the tribe, has been around for years. He has created our Freedom-Preneur Tribe shirts. It's just wear it with pride. You can get access to those on the page. And we are doing the contribution, all of our shirts, any profit that goes to those shirts will be contributed to either a local group here in Bali, or we're going to start finding pockets of people all over the world that will contribute, whether it's personal, monetary donation, or we're going to start doing the shirt for shirt program again, because that's what we're about. Our values as Freedompreneurs are not about taking and earning. It's about giving more value to the world so that you can increase the world's wealth. Right? So we are about lifting up individual Freedompreneur businesses, lifting you up as a person. And Stephen Moody said, let's just put these shirts out to the world and wear them with pride. We want people to ask questions because you are a Freedompreneur if you think differently and if you are looking to contribute to the world more than you take. That's what we do as Freedompreneurs. And so you guys can get access to those shirts over there. And now I want to share next the lineup that we have coming up. We've got next week, guys, we have a gentleman that's coming up on the show and Inside for the Tribe from Dubai. I'm actually speaking in May at an event in Dubai, and they're doing a private training in Dubai, and he's going to share a bit more about that. Come and listen and learn. It's about how to be a very dynamic speaker, how to attract an audience that's international, and how you can get access to being on an international stage and getting the assets that you would need to show that you've been on international stages. And so you're not only going to learn from this next week's call, but the guy's super cool. His name is Ernesto. He speaks so cool. He's from Dubai. He's just an amazing guy. And then because we will be having an event coming up at the end of this year, end of November, that we'll be hosting as a Freedompreneur event in Dubai. It's just a quiet sneak that I've been doing lately, but we're doing something huge, and that's why I'm going to not only contribute to speak, but also to assist those of you that are speakers and you want to increase your international engagement, you want to be on a live stage internationally. He's going to share with you how you can get access to doing that next week. And then, guys, the week after, and this is the big one that Drew was mentioning that I want to highlight, so stick around. If you're listening to the replay, make sure you stop and listen. What Drew teaches is natural selling. He has learned from the best, and the best has taught the Deepak Chopra, their association, and how to sell without being salesy, guys, and how to draw people's attention through your brand, but then how to help connect and ask the right questions so they make a great decision. And Michael Oliver, it will be coming on the show in 2 weeks. He's a agreed. Drew, you can confirm this because she's been Drew's mentor. I met Michael Oliver, goodness, 8, I think, years ago.
Yeah.
He trained me. This is where Brian began learning from his book called Natural Selling. That's how we've learned to be the most dynamic, I think, personalities that really care, but we also help people make great decisions. We learned it through Michael Oliver. And he's decided to contribute inside of our academy his ways of asking the right questions, leading people through the proper sales questioning. And Drew, you call it creating, what is the agreement? Tell me that, say that again, because I love it.
Helping people make a commitment. It's a committing call as opposed to a closing call. And the commitment that they're making is not the commitment to you; it's the commitment to themselves.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so Michael's going to come. He's going to contribute some content. Actually, they'll see in the next week or so. He's going to be doing some sales teaching and really showing you really how to communicate properly. That will go inside of our academy, and then he's actually going to really dig deeply as well.
You know why I get goosebumps thinking about it, because every morning when I go for a ride on my bike, irrespective of how much I've looked and listened and learned about this subject material, like at the moment, it's like you go on highs and lows. Like I've read Think and Grow Rich maybe 10 times, listened to the audio program, and every now and then it resurfaces. So at the moment, the thing that I'm just listening to over and over and over and over is Michael's Natural Selling audio program, which was produced about 2002, so it's old. Like it's old material, but it's as if someone on the cutting edge wrote it today. And I rang Rhonda after a couple of days ago, and I said, Rhonda, we have to have him onto the show because this guy is going to blow the roof on communication, which is going to influence the way in which you communicate with your kids, your husbands, the people around you, the next person that you meet. This is not about selling. Absolutely. This is about the art of communication. And more importantly, the thing that I took away was it's all about the communication that you verbally use and also the thoughts in your head and the message that it's sending to you. So this is going to be an absolutely wicked call 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, I'm excited to highlight it because it's really cool. You know what I love too, Drew and Darren, and of course the tribe members that are here and our leaders. What I love, what I'm seeing, is the right people are starting to surface and come together. I don't mean right, meaning someone's better. I mean, it always happens this way, doesn't it? Where, they say those statements, the cream rises to the top. It's not that. It's the people it's the heart-centered connection, the values. When you see alliances and collaborations come together, people that believe in the same thing, that's when the absolute best happens, because the messages are not contrived. No one's coming together because they just want to make some money. They're coming together for the right purpose, and I'm seeing that happening. People are coming out of the woodwork that are like, hey, how can I contribute? How can I be part of this movement? I mean, my goodness, we've got like 86 lessons, I think, in this academy. I'm like, God, we didn't even touch the surface, and I need so much great content. We've got amazing people coming together. Yesterday, Bernie Martin's like, he's been doing Facebook ads, really digging in. He goes, Rhonda, let me just create a miniature product to go inside the academy that's brand new, up to date. I'm like, awesome, right? It's like, right? So, well, wow, this is amazing. People, and the fact that we're coming together to give this much content so we can all trust and leverage each other, that to me is why I do this. I could sell anything. Why? Why not bring the right people together to offer their best information so that we can raise everyone up? And that's really the motto that we're all coming together to live forward.
Yep, exactly.
Cool.
Awesome.
All right. Yeah.
I'm loving it.
Guys. Well, I'm loving it, Darren. You rock. I can't wait to see you here in Bali really soon. Like, when are you coming?
My flight is in 25 hours.
No way. I didn't even know that.
So
he's coming tomorrow.
I'm coming tomorrow. My flight actually leaves in 25 hours. I'll be there Sunday. It'll be your time Sunday at 3 p.m. We're going to stay for a week in Ubud, and then go to the Gili Islands, or the Gili Islands, however you say that. And then we're going to come back to stay around you guys. Then we're going to the event, and then we're going all over the world.
Kick ass.
And this is what I want to share with. I want to just thank you because, you know, it's funny because your lifestyle for the last few years, like we met a few years ago, right?
Yeah.
Like we actually met a few years ago, and we've shared, you know, little breakout rooms. We've spoken to the same groups and masterminds and all kinds of stuff. And I just think the interesting thing about you is that regardless of what you promote, regardless of what you sell, like you said, you can sell anything. The message is consistent, right? And I think that it's a big lesson for a lot of people. And you know, so when it comes to outsourcing and when it comes to really living like a freedom, you know, I've built my business around what I'm passionate about, what I'm really good at, and I'm actually able to outsource and give opportunity to people and give people work that need work. Like I have this agency now where I can help people like you build your business, and I can also help people that are coming up get work because I have work, right? It's like abundance. It just flows, and it actually helps like a lot of people. So what you're doing, having this academy, and just for my own, I just want to thank you because having my opportunity there to be able to serve your community actually helps a lot more people than you think. It helps guys that are like interning with me and they're working with me, and I'm able to actually have them really just come up, and so it's actually like it filters down. So I just want to thank you because it actually it does help me. It helps me help you, but it also helps a lot of other people that you might not see from the surface. So I just wanted to say thank you on behalf of like myself and my team, and just having us out there. And I think it's going to be amazing what you guys are doing, and I'm excited to be just able to contribute in that way. So thank you.
Thanks,
awesome.
man. I really see that. That feels really cool because it's you don't think of that when you're just doing, right? It's like that's really what it's all about.
It's opportunity, right? It builds. It's not just like me being able to be like, oh, okay, I'm a copywriter and I can write stuff. It's about me. I wanted to build something of value for me, but also for other people. And you've helped in this one instance build a platform to help those people. And all the people that are in your academy and in your in the marketplace have the potential to do that. Have the potential to actually have that filter down and help people build real business, like build like real businesses for people. Right, which is really, really cool. I just want like you guys are awesome, and Drew, I fall in love with your accent every time I hear your voice. So it's wonderful.
That's good,
anyway,
mate.
so that's all the loving. I'm back to being hardcore.
Yeah, I know. Like, guys, listen, get your asses to work.
Okay, all right. I've got 1 minute of battery power.
All right, guys, you guys are amazing. I look forward to seeing you next week. Look forward to seeing you here in Bali. Get a Freedom-Preneur t-shirt. Take a picture of it. Stephen Moody will ship it to you right away. And I'm looking forward to seeing some of you guys in Bali. Join the Facebook group if you're not part of it. It's free to join. You just got to have integrity. And, of course, join the Academy if that suits you and you want to dig deeper and be more deeply connected. Either way, it's all good. So have a great one, everyone, and be unstoppable! See you guys.
Bye for now.
Good night.